Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Alejandro Perez, the CGI Nerd, and in this video we're going over a basic modeling project. We're going to create this dice, and we're going to go through the process of doing some simple modeling with extrusions, beveling, smoothing, subdividing, things like that, so that way we can get the models that we're using here to create a die for our scene. Okay, to start off with, we're going to create a box because that makes sense. It is going to end up being a dice, so a box would be a good starting point. Well, die because it is singular, so I'm creating a die here. Then here I'm going to switch so basically I just go in, double click on here. We have the geometry. We're inside of the geometry node now, and I'm going to switch over to a polygon mesh. On the subdivision axis, we're going to do 6, 6, and 6. That'll give us enough of the geometry that we need to be able to create all of the faces that we want. Now what I want to do is be able to extrude in all of the faces that we are going to work and create the sides of the face. So I'm going to select in face mode. It's going to be 4 on this side, and then on the opposite side it would be 3. Then on one side we should have 1. On the opposite side we should have 6. So we're going to have 6 faces like this. But because they're touching on long sides like this, it's going to cause an issue. So I'm just going to deselect. So right now I'm holding shift. If we hold shift, you can see that I am in a plus mode, and if I hold my control, I'm in minus mode, so we deselect or we can add to our selection. And I'm also in the selection mode here, and I am in face mode, which is here. Okay, so let's deselect that. Okay, so this is 1. This is going to be 6, but we have those 2 still. Then we're going to have 2. And then on the other opposite side of 2, we will have 5. Okay, so now with all those selected, I can do an extrude. And we're going to inset. We're going to inset it slightly. So let's say something like 0.02. Okay, that is great. And then from the opposite side over here, I want to make sure that I can extrude these. So I am going to select both of those and click extrude here on the shelf. I'm in the polygon mini set. And then we know it's going to be an inset of 0.02. So they are all the same now. So now that we have that, we can actually go through and select all of these areas where the holes of the dice are going to be. Five, 2. Okay, looks like we got everything selected here. Now with all of them selected, I can extrude together. And I'm going to inset it a tiny bit more. So this will give us a kind of crisper edge that we're going to be working with. And on this edge here, let's say we put it at 0.005. And then I am going to extrude one more time. And this time I'm going to pull it in, and let's say it's going to be negative 0.2, negative 0.02. There you go. So we have a very hard-edged version of what this is going to end up being like. This gives us a good opportunity to be able to start adding color. So let's go here, and I'm going to do a color node, and I'm going to make this all red, and then click the display flag here. And then I'm going to have a second color for the holes. You go here, add another color node. And on this color node, I'm going to have it white, which is great. But I need groups to know where the holes are. So let's, inside of the poly extrude here, I am going to turn on the groups for the front and the side. So if you want to see exactly what those are, we can uncheck output front and we can see which faces those are. And then output sides, so we can see what sides those are. I'm just going to turn on the groups for each one of those. And then on this color here, I'm going to set it to assign to both of those groups. Okay, so now that we have that, we can look to softening the edges of the box. So right now, I can switch over to the edge mode. And what I want to do is soften these edges around the whole die. So what I'm doing is holding down shift, so I have the plus. And then if I double click on one of these long edges, it lets me select that whole long edge. So I'm going to repeat that all the way around the box. And that looks like it's all set. And we have this tool here that's called Poly Bevel. You can take that and adjust the distance. And here we can adjust the softness of that edge. So that looks good. Everything is super low poly right now. But it is the shape that we want it. So what we can do is subdivide. And that will add more segments for us. And we can see the effect that we are having here. Let's turn off the smooth wire shaded so you can see kind of what we see right now. And looking at this, I feel like I like it. Depth 3 is fine. And this will be really high poly, but I feel like that bleed is a little bit much for me. So what I want to do is go in and adjust the second color that controls the white on the side, and let's take off the extrude sides and see how that looks. I like that a lot better. So that way there's not a bleed and it's just staying within the holes, kind of like if it were painted in. And that is the die right now. So what we can do is go to the material palette, maybe create a principled shader. On surface, I'm going to make sure that this is white because that we want the point color to be used. And we have that checked there. So it's going to, this is basically like a multiplier on the colors that we created. And that looks great. I can move this up. So let's go back to our object level. Take this and move it so that it's right on the ground. We can create a grid. So if we go to create, we have a grid here. And let me just control click on here. That'll place it right in the center. And I can scale this. And let's go ahead and create an environment light. Create an environment light. So that gives us a light for the scene. And then we need a camera. So I'm going to create a new camera here. And that is the camera settings that we want. And then we can take a look at our render preview here. So let's render. And we'll get a look at what this is going to look like. So it's gathering the scene, and it'll go through within mantra and give us a look at the render soon. There we go. So that is what our die looks like. If you liked that tutorial where we covered how to create a die inside of Houdini, I have a free course on my website, linked down in the description, where we go through in a lot more detail how to create a Lego minifigure and also a procedural asset for creating Lego block assets. If that interests you, check out the link down below. Thank you for following this video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.